So yesterday, news came out that Shemar Stewart, edge rusher prospect, met with the Packers. He put it out on a Instagram story that he was in Green Bay, took a picture of Lambeau Field. So that is interesting. And I do think that for the Packers, their biggest need is edge rusher currently. I hope they pick an edge rusher in round 1. But personally, I'm leaning towards not wanting the Packers to take Shemar Stewart, and I'll explain why. There is no doubt that he is an insane athlete, and he is a guy who has all the physical and athletic type tools. He had a 10 RAS, which is perfect, which measures relative athletic score. 6'5", 287 pounds, and he ran a 4.59 40, which is pretty wild. I'm pretty sure Devontae Adams' 40 was somewhere around there. So there is no doubt that he has all of the physical traits. My only concern with Shemar Stewart is that he just didn't really produce much during his time at A&M. He had only had 1.5 sacks in each of the past 3 seasons, so never more than 1.5 sacks in a year. And let me show you this that I saw earlier today as well. This is from Fran Duffy, who says, going through my Shemar Stewart notes this morning, and one thing of note, his lack of production is not just a pass game issue. Just 21 career run stops on 575 run defense snaps equals a run stop rate of 3.7%. That would rank 203rd out of 204 charted edges drafted in the last decade. So also didn't really produce much in the running game. I have another stat to show you right here from Marcus Mosher, who says 2025 edge class by tackle for loss production, 1.5 tackle for losses per game is usually the number you want to be clear to be a first-round pick. And as you can see, dead last is Shemar Stewart with a total of 6 tackles for loss at 0.5 per game. So as you can see, there is no doubt that he is insanely physically gifted. The only issue is that led to no production during his time at A&M. And the thing is with the Packers, they do love these kind of prospects who are insane athletes. They may lack some production in college, but the Packers like to go after some of these guys. You look at Rashawn Gary. During his time in college, he had 3.5 sacks, 6 sacks, and 1 sack, and so he was never really producing at a high level during his time in college, where the Packers sort of took a bet on his athleticism and what they think they could develop him into. And I think he's been a solid player, but he hasn't become, outside of maybe one season, one of the more elite type pass rushers. He's never had more than 10 sacks in a season. His most was 9.5. And a similar thing happened with Lucas Van Ness, but Lucas Van Ness had some production. He had 7 sacks and 6.5 sacks in college, but he had never been a full-time starter. He had played 50-plus snaps in one career game during his time in college. And so the Packers do like to take these developmental type guys who have a lot of the physical traits, and that is one thing that Shemar Stewart has, and so that's why I wouldn't be shocked if the Packers took Shemar Stewart. I just feel like there are a lot of red flags with him. It's not to say he can't become a solid player, that he can't eventually develop into that. I mean, it's possible. I just would rather the Packers take someone who is already producing in college. And let me just pull up a few other charts here. The one guy that I really like a lot at edge rusher, who I think I'm leaning towards wanting the Packers to select him if he's there, is James Pierce Jr. He had a ton of production in college, but here's one chart. This is from Football Insights on X, says Abdul Carter might have some company. As you can see in this chart, on the left side, we have true pass sets and percentage-wise, and on the bottom, we have overall pass rush win rate. So, the top right is like the most productive guys. And as you can see, you have Abdul Carter, who is supposed to go in the top probably, few picks. And then right next to him, you have James Pierce Jr., who had a better pass rush win rate than Abdul Carter. You can see Mike Green over there. He's a really solid guy as well. And then if you're trying to find Shemar Stewart, as you can see, he's in the bottom left area of the chart down there, so a much lower pass rush win rate. Mikael Williams as well, who is someone that may go first round, also in that area. So just personally, because the Packers are needing some pass rushing production, I just would rather them go after someone who's already shown that they can do it at the college level. Could Shemar Stewart eventually get there? Yes. Does he have more upside just because of his traits? Yes. But it doesn't always work out when you take a bet on guys who, haven't really produced a ton at the college level. And it just does concern me that Stewart never had more than 1.5 sacks. So that's sort of where I'm leaning right now. There's a lot of upside with Stewart, no doubt, but James Pierce Jr., in my mind, he's a guy that could be available when the Packers draft. It really depends. We'll have to sort of see how the draft board falls. But when you look at James Pierce during his time in college, 6'4", 245 pounds at Tennessee, 8 sacks in 2024, had 13 in 2023. So it's cool to see him have, a big season there in 23, getting up to 23 sacks. And he had a 23% pass rush win rate in 2024 per PFF. You compare that to Shemar Stewart, 12.4% pass rush win rate. James Pierce Jr., he's not as big of a guy as Shemar Stewart. He's 6'4", Shemar Stewart's 6'6". James Pierce Jr. is 245. Shemar Stewart is 290. And so I think if you're, building your best possible prospect just from a size and weight standpoint, you definitely go Stewart. But I think that Pierce, even though being slightly undersized, is someone who was able to find that consistent production. And Rashawn Gary, Lucas Van Ness are both in the 270s, and so Gutekunst has targeted those guys who are a little bit bigger. But, you look at Brenton Cox Jr., he's a little bit smaller, and he was, one of the Packers' most effective pass rushers this past season. Those are sort of my thoughts on my current outlook on some of the edge rushers for the Packers. If you want more Packers draft content, feel free to subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys next time.